Welcome to Gilded Troll.
Fuck off! Welcome to the last call to Gilded Troll, where we all get drunk and we talk about past campaigns. This week, you guys voted for Tyranny of Dragons. Why? We could have talked about so many other things. Why?
Yeah.
Like Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Right.
That one's gonna be fun just because of how bad it is. Tyranny's like teetering. I don't know. At the end of the stream, we'll put. Alright.
Yeah.
I don't know if I enjoyed it. I think I did. We're gonna put a poll at the end of this stream, so you can vote on the next week's topic. Join
What's
us
your
Sunday.
questions?
Hang on. Join us Sunday for Rick and Morty. The Rick
Dungeons and Dragons versus Rick and Morty.
Sunday at what time are we doing that?
7 p.m.
Literally?
What?
Are you going to actually be fighting Rick and Morty?
Actually, the players.
Spoilers! I'm playing.
So the players are actually not the PCs. The players are Jerry, Beth, Morty, and
the Butter Robot?
no. Who the fuck? There's 5 pre-gens. It's Jerry, Beth. Oh, Summer. Duh. What the fuck?
Oh yeah.
And then also Meatface.
I keep calling him Meathead too. It's kind of
Meatface.
worse.
Who the fuck is Meatface?
He's a placeholder.
He's a character they made up for the starter
And
set.
then never got
Gotcha.
rid of him, but I think he's just a stereotypical barbarian or street fighter.
He's a heavy weapon fighter.
Okay.
Why not Mr. Poopy Butthole?
That would have been funny.
What would they have made him?
Bard?
A halfling.
Oh yeah. So the reason they went with Meatface was all of the pre-gens for Rick and Morty are the same exact, not exactly the same exact, but very nearly the same exact pre-gens that were in the starter set. So they have a heavy weapon fighter, they have an archery fighter, a life cleric, an evocation wizard, and a
Because every
thief.
party needs a tank.
Because every party needs a tank.
Honestly.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Meatface, despite having a heavy weapon, has defense fighting style.
Yeah. So join us Sunday. Players are me, AJ, Sean, Joey, Chris.
And Chris, who you met on last episode of Last Call at the Gilded Troll.
Yep.
Alright, so Tyranny of Dragons. Ooh, pretty.
Special edition.
5 heads are better than one.
5 heads are better than 1.
Oh, where does it say that on here?
I think it's on the back.
Is it on the back?
In Dracon. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right above the UPC.
It took us like 10 minutes to figure that out.
It took us a retarded amount of time. Yes, Sean, someone mentioned you. You're playing with us on Sunday.
Wait, Sean died? What?
Even Mike knows that joke. And wait, did you actually watch Dragon Vice Bear Peak or not really?
No, he's just on Discord.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Jesus, that's loud!
What the hell?
Keep it loud, we love it.
Thanks for subscribing with Mariah. Oh,
Thanks
God,
for
that scared the
blasting
shit
out our
out of me.
eardrums. Like, I fucking heard that. Holy shit.
Good. Fucking wake up.
Oh my God.
So, Tyranny of Dragons,
Tyranny of
which encompasses Rise of Tiamat and Where the Dragon Queen Came.
In the opposite order.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was two
I didn't
campaigns.
say, yeah, like, I didn't realize it until I looked at these 2 books, and I was like, shit, these are thin. Oh wait, this is Tyranny.
Yep.
Oh, this was the campaign that they re-released and changed, like, 2 things where
Yep.
they should have changed a whole lot more than that.
Yeah. No, they literally just included the errata. They didn't try to revise or fix or anything the campaign. They included the errata, which was like, oh yeah, at the beginning instead of guards they should be veterans, because at the time of writing guard was like a CR2 creature, and then very late before printing it got changed to CR quarter.
Okay.
And then later in the campaign, it's like, yeah, this assassin should actually be a bandit captain, because assassin got changed from like CR3 to CR9. And
I mean,
it's like, yeah, no, the players are supposed to
move that way a little bit.
this way.
Yeah. That's better.
Oh my God, I'm just gonna turn the camera.
Just trying to avoid that.
Well, I'm turning the camera.
Alright, so they made...
They made like errata changes,
Yeah.
and like the Tyranny of Dragons errata document is like 2 pages, when you know the number of changes that actually needed to happen in that book were something like 40 or 50.
Yeah. It came out in 2014 and was actually the first 5e module that was released.
Yep, it
right?
came out before the Monster Manual.
That's insane, actually.
Yeah, So
How long after between
So Hoard of the Dragon Queen and the Player's Handbook came out in August, and then
2014?
of 2014, and then in October the Monster Manual and Rise of Tiamat released, and then in December the Dungeon Master's Guide released.
So they wanted to rush this shit out.
They didn't want to release an edition without content. So,
but like put all the shit out together. Like all these things together are very important.
There's
so
gotta be a marketing ploy for releasing things a few months after.
I don't know why the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, and the DMG came out at different times.
If you release the Monster Manual before you release the actual module, people will just buy the Monster Manual and do homebrew stuff because they can figure out how monsters work and how NPCs should work and how you should stat them based on reading the stat blocks.
So the one thing that the Hoard of the Dragon Queen did was it leveraged a lot of the monsters that are at the back of the Player's Handbook. The NPC kinds of monsters, like Guard and Thug and stuff like that. And that's actually why Hoard of the Dragon Queen had such problems with the balance of those
They had hella rankings, like, throughout the entire cult, too, which would...
Those were printed in Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Oh,
the Dragon Claw, the Dragon Fang, and the Dragon Wing, those, and the Dragon Soul, those are in Hoard of the Dragon Queen. They're in Appendix B. But throughout the book, it makes copious references to Wolf, Thug, Bandit, Guard. Those are at the back of the Player's Handbook because they knew that they were coming out on the same day. But the adventure was written during the development of Player's Handbook.
Yeah.
And changes were made to those stat blocks without making subsequent or correlated changes to the module.
Right.
So that there were some major problems. Andy says it still makes references to surprise rounds, which doesn't surprise me. I do know that there were references to high alertness, which is like there was this whole rule set that was supposed to be around surprise rounds. High alertness. It was essentially like when combat starts, you make a perception check or something like that, and then depending on how alert the NPCs are, they get a modifier. So if they're on high alert, they get a +5 perception for that, like, am I surprised? Or something weird like that. And they scrapped that whole system before the PHB came out, but the module didn't get updated to remove it. Yeah, like it's really bad.
That's lazy.
It's not so much. Well, the problem is, hey, Shadow's hosting us with 1 viewer.
Your name comes up as Shadow's ass.
Shadow's assin.
Thank you for hosting.
Arson. So the reason that there's such a disconnect between the Player's Handbook and Hoard of the Dragon Queen is because they were two different two different companies writing them.
Oh God, seriously? I didn't
Really?
know that.
Tyranny of Dragons was outsourced to Kobold Press.
First book, I don't know why they would do
First
that.
book, they outsourced it
They
to
were
Kobold
rushed.
Press.
That
They
tells
were-
me they were rushed.
They were rushed. They
Yeah.
had a published date, and they knew they couldn't get it done in time, so they outsourced it to Kobold Press, which some of our viewers might be aware of Kobold Press because they released Tome of Beasts and the Creature Codex, which are fairly highly regarded third-party supplements. They also wrote Tyranny of Dragons, and I kind of hate them for it.
Aww. That's
like
sad.
I feel like the first campaign that should
That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that should have been first party, like, and they should have made it work. Like, fuck.
Especially if they were willing to delay something as important as the Monster Manual.
Yeah. They should have gotten their core stuff done first, and then done a module once it was ready by the people that knew the other content that they just published.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend I know all the marketing bullshit. Like, there's no universe where I know better than their marketing wizards, but wizards because it's Wizards of the Coast.
Don't you mean the wizard?
DeWizard. I'm gonna do 17 points of DeWizard. That was in 3rd edition Unearthed Arcana. Or, no, actually, I think it was 2nd edition.
They copy and pasted to replace
Mage with Wizard.
And they did it in such a way that...
that damage got replaced with DeWizard.
DeWizard.
I remember that. Yeah, okay.
I love DeWizard.
Yeah. The marketing familiars. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I would trust that to familiars. I think I need a full-fledged wizard to do marketing. Maybe a sorcerer. They're charisma based.
So, this having been the first, like, 5e... Actually, no. So, we played through...
We didn't play through it.
No. But we started with...
Lost Mine of Fandelver.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was...
So we're going all the way back to the beginning of 5e.
Because we transitioned from 4e to
Yeah.
D&D Next content to Tyranny.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was in July of 2014, the starter set came out. I, for some reason, was voraciously reading through it. I was just going...
That's just what
I
you
was just
do.
reading through it, and I was just like, these are all the changes that I'm noticing from 4th edition. And so we had a 4th edition campaign. We were at level 22. We were in a...
Puzzle cube dimension.
Puzzle cube,
Oh my god, it was
trans-dimensional space,
Yeah.
demi-plane prison thing. It was weird. It was homebrew. Don't at me.
We were crushing it.
Yeah, sure. So one session, 2 of our players couldn't show up, so we went bowling instead, and then that only took 2 hours out of our allotted 5-hour D&D session.
Bowling goes quick.
So we were like, hey, I have that starter set. You guys want to like try D&D 5th edition? And incidentally, this bowling outing was the first time we met Luke.
Luke invited himself. I remember that.
Luke
No,
invited himself.
No,
Yep.
first time. I
Yeah.
posted. I
So-
thought I was
so-
posting on a Facebook group, the D&D Facebook group, and I posted as my status. And for some reason, you were already my friend, which I
Because-
don't
Oh
understand.
no, it wasn't the first time we met him because he had played Magic the Gathering.
The
with
draft,
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a conspiracy draft.
And we must have been friends, and you're like, yeah, I'll go. I'm like, oh,
Oh
fuck.
shit! I didn't mean to. And we were like, I can't uninvite Luke.
This is really mean.
So we played the starter set. Like we were just planning on like trying it in between our 4th edition games. We played it for like 3 hours, got through 8 combats, which blew our fucking
We're like,
mind.
holy shit, it's going fast.
And then the next week we resumed our 4e game, and like an hour into the first fight of the session, which is to say probably the only fight of the session because it's 4th edition. I just like looked up at the table and I said, "Who's having fun? Show of hands," and no hands went up. So we put 4th edition away, and we
My
went
hand
back
went
to...
up because that was my first time playing. And I was like, yeah, I want to play.
I want to play.
Was that the fight with Beholder? And
Yes.
Okay.
It was the
Oh,
Beholder
God.
fight that I designed after the Minecraft Ender Dragon fight.
I was having fun with that fight because I was 2 people. I
You-
sucked up 2 of the beams.
Oh my god.
So we went back to the starter set, and we never played 4th edition ever again. But then, so that was in July of 2014, and
Yeah.
then in August, the Player's Handbook
Shit
and
came out.
Horde of the Dragon Queen came out, and we were like, hey, do you guys want to, like, make your own characters? Because, like, instead of 4 classes and 1 subclass, we have this whole Player's Handbook to pick from.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, fuck yeah, and we started a Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign.
Good transition. Go through your characters if you remember them.
Go, Mike.
What did
I
you play?
was Malarak, the
Wow, nice timing. Just went on screen.
wild magic sorcerer, smooth talking motherfucker, tiefling born to a pair of humans, wondering why the fuck am I a tiefling? Basically distrusting of everybody since everyone in his town was two-faced as fuck because, oh yeah, I'll be nice to you and then talk shit about you behind your back.
Edgelord.
Hey, shut the fuck up, Steph. Yeah.
Luke.
I played Big Fist Keanu Reeves.
Who was the first one to make that comparison?
I
Make your
was
character-
for the character art.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, like what does your character look like? I don't know, basically Keanu Reeves, but with a
Wait.
bunch of shit on him.
Wait, wasn't that wasn't that Iggy you
No.
call him Keanu Reeves?
No, it was
It was Knox, who is now on screen.
If you look at the character art too, it looks like Keanu Reeves like got high and is super happy and just has all of the items on him. It's great.
Yeah, Bayless pulled out all the stops on that character and that character. Like, everyone else has, like, their weapon and their armor and, like, a belt. And then Nox has a bow, a quiver, a gauntlet, and a pair of rapiers, and a cool-ass coat, and some boots.
Yeah.
I think that's very telling of what you were excited about when you first started playing D&D,
Yeah.
though. You're like, oh my god, magic items. I cut you off. What was your character?
I started off as a ranger, and then I multi-classed later on into a ranger/cleric.
You were cleric?
Yeah, so he was Ranger 5 and then multi-classed into War Cleric. And then just took War Cleric all the way up to well, it was like 16 or 17, and then when we jumped to 20, which
Yeah.
we'll get into later.
Yeah.
When we jumped to 20, you were like, "Can I just rebuild as all War Cleric?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Because the Ranger multi-class was doing you no favors.
I think it was like Fighter 1, Cleric 19. Or Fighter 2, I think. Because I didn't like their...
Yeah, I don't remember you using Divine Intervention at any point, so... Yeah, I don't think you were Cleric 20.
We were the divine intervention.
You were the Divine Intervention. We'll
Yeah.
get
Get
to
to that. Syra, who... AJ, not the AJ that...
Not the AJ that we play
now.
with, a different AJ, Luke's brother.
Uh,
Yeah, we have a female AJ and a male AJ friend. That's not confusing.
She was a fighter. I think she was a straight
She
fighter.
the character.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
player was male.
Oh my god. let's go with that. Syra was a fighter.
Yes. Sire was just straight Battlemaster fighter.
His build actually was...
His build was hilariously optimized. He
Yeah.
was Polearm Master Sentinel immediately.
Yeah.
Oh god, right, that
Yeah.
bullshit.
First
oh fuck,
5e
you're near me?
bullshit?
You're,
Yeah.
you're frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First 5e shit, like...
I have a distinct memory of you guys fighting a purple worm, and its whole shtick is burrow through the fucking walls and just like tunnel and bite people and then
Fuck you,
fly
Sam.
away. And it's like, well, it's leaving my reach, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I opportunity attack. Or no, not even leaving. It's entering my reach, right?
Entering my reach, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I hit it. Okay. It stops moving. I'm sorry. What? It's
Struck a nerve.
it's an 80-foot long, big ass fucking worm, and you're telling me it just stops because you poked it?
Magic, bitch.
Not even.
How about
I can't
Lanafon,
hear.
the second loop? He tries to fly away and just stops.
I don't remember that.
neither do I.
Oh, when we did New Game Plus.
Yeah, he landed.
Stop referencing New Game Plus, alright?
He landed. Lightning Breath Malarak. Malarak was like, what? And tried to fly away, and Syra's like, no, you're staying right here.
I vaguely remember this.
Very, very good build.
Wow, we have a lot of Tyranny of Dragons content to talk about. We
Yeah.
have the full campaign, we have the extended homebrew campaign, we have the New Game Plus, and we have the speedrun.
Because,
Oh god,
We
that's
weren't-
right, shit.
yeah, we
And
weren't
all the
satisfied
shit
with...
that we worked on adding for the characters afterwards.
To be fair, when was the next module published?
The next
Were we
module...
stretched for things to play?
No, so here's the thing.
Wasn't the next one Curse of Strahd?
No, the next one is Out of the Abyss, and then Princes of the Apocalypse,
Both
and
of which
then
we
Curse
skipped.
of Strahd. We played Tyranny for so long that Curse of Strahd came out before we finished.
Yeah, we played like 2 years for that, right?
We played Tyranny for a really long time.
But was that because the modules came out and you were like, nah, this sucks?
I don't know.
Apocalypse
I don't
and-
remember, honestly. Do I really not have audio on my right ear? Someone say something?
Hi.
Something.
Okay.
Hi,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
here.
it doesn't
Oh,
matter
okay.
if I say hi.
I don't have Luke audio out of my right ear.
You couldn't hear that
That's-
burp?
Nope. Wait, that was Mike, wasn't it?
That was
No,
not me.
no, that was a loop
Oh,
burp.
maybe
Yeah,
I
you'll know
I
if
don't
it's my
fucking
burp.
know. My ears are getting really irritated from wearing headphones like 3 or 4 days a week. Actually, I wear them to work too, so.
Yeah.
But
I played Morgan.
need
I
to
was
break.
a totem barbarian.
Barbarian.
you were a barbarian,
Yeah.
which made you resistant to fucking everything.
I
I
And that
remember.
build
Which never
still
came
holds
up?
up.
What was that, Mike?
Resistant to everything but psychic, which, did that ever even come up?
Probably not. Let's be
No?
real. It's a very rare damage type.
Yeah.
I remember, I distinctly remember at low levels, Morrigan, you were having a really hard time getting into melee range. Because you were a dwarf, so you only had 25 feet speed, and enemies were like 60 feet away at the
No,
start of
dwarves
every
have
fight
30
for some reason. What? Dwarves have 25. Dwarves have 25.
Really? That's medium.
Yeah, dwarves are the only medium race with 25 feet speed. So the
I got short, stubby legs.
there's a racial feat in Xanathar's called Squat Nimbleness that has a prerequisite of dwarf or small.
That's fine.
Okay.
Man, George get the shaft. Jesus.
But yeah, I remember you had a really hard time getting into melee range, so when you hit level 4, you took the Charger feat, because we didn't realize that was garbage once you hit level 5.
Yeah.
Because
Level 5.
so the way the Charger feat works is if you use your action to dash, you can make a bonus action attack at the end of it.
Right.
But it only gives you one attack. Whereas at level 5 you get extra attack, and it's just like, well, fuck. Like, Charger is supposed to make up for the fact that you needed to dash, but not when you have extra attack.
What's a feat that just gives you extra movement?
Mobile.
Yeah.
Plus 10 feet speed.
Yeah.
But Barbarian 5 also gives you fast movement, which is plus 10 feet speed. But at level 3, I actually gave you your magic sword, which is in the character art, which was heavily influenced by
Drake's Tooth.
it was the Drake's Tooth sword. It was heavily influenced by the Moonlight Greatsword from Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's where that came from. Yeah.
So why could the Barbarian use it?
Because it wasn't a direct 100% one-for-one recreation. It was just influenced.
He just wanted to give me something special, and I took it.
I think the save DC on the explosion was just a flat 13 instead of like scaling on in or something like that.
I mean, it was pretty early given, so.
Yeah, like DC 13's like that's what a level 1 wizard's save DC is.
As a module, as your first 5e module, how hard was it to prepare that?
God awful. It was hilariously difficult to prepare. So the worst part
Coming
about
from homebrew too.
Oh Jesus.
It's Kyle. It's Kyle being Kyle.
No, I know. Kyle says they closed my building.
What?
Shit.
Oh shit, Kyle.
Does that mean you're out of work?
What?
Oh boy.
Shit.
Answer the damn question.
Yeah,
I'll take that, Kyle.
so the worst part about prepping Tyranny of Dragons is that there are story beats in Rise of Tiamat that really, really need to be foreshadowed, like heavily.
Okay.
I didn't have Rise of Tiamat when I started running Horde of the Dragon Queen. I didn't have it for 2 months. So we got through half of Horde of the Dragon Queen, half to 2/3 of Horde of the Dragon Queen before Rise of Tiamat ever came out.
Yeah.
And I did no foreshadowing because there was no way for me to have known that this foreshadowing had to happen.
But the book didn't mention,
The
like,
book
oh, by
did
the way.
not mention it at all. Okay,
What the hell?
so as Bara Joss, the red wizard that you guys refer to as Jazz Hands,
Didn't we kill him like 3 times?
you kill him 3 times.
Tell the viewers why we call them jazz hands.
I'm getting there.
Fucking jazz hands. Oh, we killed him at the end, the very best
No,
one.
he's in the
Stuffed
Hall
his
of Fame
corpse
now.
inside the
And
fucking laser.
I'm sure any D&D game knows you take an NPC and you fucking name it the most retarded thing you can. And
Froom
that's
Froom.
just- yeah.
Yeah.
Who is Froom Frooms?
So he's
I
called
don't
Jazz
know.
Hands because it looks like
Yeah.
the mini's doing fucking jazz hands. Jazz Hands! I'm surprised that focused.
Those are some high-powered jazz hands.
Those are some high-powered jazz hands.
The jazzest hands.
That's the official Wizards of the Coast Red Wizard miniature, which I bought for Asbara.
Constant jazz hands.
So yeah, like, the Red Wizards are a huge fucking deal in Rise of Tiamat. They're the reason the Cult of the Dragon has the ability to perform this ritual to summon Tiamat.
Oh yeah.
Because the Cult of the Dragon historically is just like, yeah, let's make some fucking Dracoliches. So they're really good at necromancy. They don't know jack shit about summoning and unimprisoning gods. But the Red Wizards are they're wizards. So they can figure this shit out.
Yeah.
So you really need to heavily foreshadow the fact that the Red Wizards are ever present in the cult. And it just comes out of fucking nowhere halfway into Rise of Tiamat, because in Horde of the Dragon Queen, you run into Asbara Joss in Chapter 4, which is the worst chapter ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run into him again in Chapter 8, and you're like, I hate this guy. What the fuck? And that's it. Like, that's it. Like, there's no explanation for why the fuck he's there. There's no information. It doesn't even tell the DM why the fuck he's there. So
I'm
the
looking at
DM...
his spells.
What?
I'm looking at his spells.
Isn't he just mage?
Yeah.
Wait, no, he has his own stat block.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not just a mage. What's his spell school? What's his spell school?
Evocation.
He's an evoker. Of course he is. But yeah, like it was just like there's so much shit that needs to be foreshadowed, and they give you no information with which to do it.
But, so
What 5e module do you think would have been better off starting for a DM?
Which module is best for a starting DM?
Yeah, like what would be the easiest for a new DM to prep?
probably Curse of Strahd.
Easiest to prep is Curse of Strahd, but Curse of Strahd is also difficult to run. It's very easy to prep, very difficult to run. Easiest to run, most difficult to prep is...
Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
No, I was going to say Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay.
Because of how difficult it is to make the hex crawl interesting. You can run it. You can run it right out of the fucking book.
I mean,
it's super
not
easy.
to mention all the jungle excursion and the places in Chult you need to know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's very difficult to make that interesting instead of, I don't know, fucking blindly wander through the goddamn park. It's very easy to run if you're okay with just meh.
Didn't you say recently that Icefire was fantastic for new DMs?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
actually
that's
a
a
starter
starter.
set.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
starter set. So, I think we were...
Is
The
it?
question was... Yeah. Icefire Peak is in the Essentials kit,
Mm-hmm.
which is like starter set 2.0.
Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the question was like published hardcover module.
Yeah, Luke asked it.
Okay.
You're looking at me like I asked it.
I thought Icefire Peak was one of those. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
Icefire is just the Essentials kit. It's a flimsy soft cover.
Which I
God,
think
okay.
it's pretty cool that they released 2 different starter set material.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why they bothered re-releasing. Like, I don't know why they bothered releasing a second starter set. I don't hate it.
It creates more interest in a different period in time.
I guess.
It's like 5e D&D has been around for a few years
Yeah.
now. How about we try to get a new
Second
audience?
wave.
Maybe you have
Yeah.
a seasoned DM who wants to introduce players with a different style or something.
Yeah, it's like I've run
Yeah.
Lost Mine like 50 fucking times. So if I was gonna do new players, I would not put them in Lost Mines again because I'm just fucking tired of it. I'm tired of DMing it. So you know, Icefire Peak is nice. Like if at this point I wanted to introduce new characters to D&D, I'd use Icefire.
Yeah.
But back on topic, Tyranny.
Here's the fun part. Give a brief overview.
Okay. Brief overview.
Yeah.
Watch the
what-
speed run.
What?
Brief
what
over-
are you
brief-
supposed to accomplish? Who are you supposed to meet?
All right. So the plot of Tyranny of Dragons is that the Cult of the Dragon has decided, mostly due to the charismatic leadership of Severin Silrajan, Silrain. I don't know if that J is supposed to be a J or a Y.
It's
I don't think I've ever heard that last name.
Yeah, that's what. Like, he had a last name.
Yeah, no, he's just Severin. No one ever uses the last name. It's just Severin.
Yeah,
Severin
that's
Severin,
Silrain.
the worm speaker or some shit.
Yeah, he's the Red Worm speaker. So Severin takes leadership of the Cult of the Dragon because of a vision he's been given by Tiamat. Get the fucking dragon masks and summon me into the world so we can do a hostile takeover of the entire world. Blah, 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 etc. Whatever.
Pretty solid evil villain.
Right, it's super,
Whatever.
Generic evil villain.
I had a vision.
So Severin gets the help of the Red Wizards of Thay, because the Thayans, their goal in life is to have everyone in the world die, so that everyone can be undead. Okay, so
Now, is that the Red Wizard's goal, or is that the
that is
necromancy
Zastam's goal.
lead? Okay, Zastam. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and
Everyone's
he's the
just
strongest of
following-
the Red Wizard leader guys.
Yeah, so Zastam is the Zulkir of necromancy. So he's technically equals with the other 7 Zulkirs, one for each school of magic, but for some reason he's just better than the rest of them. I mean, he is a lich, so
Someone's got to be the best.
someone's got to be the best. He's the first among equals. So he essentially controls the Red Wizards. But so Zastam sends Asbarajas and Rathmodar, and then a whole buttload of unnamed Red Wizards to help them summon Tiamat. So
Green
the
shirts.
yeah,
No,
so,
red shirts. Fuck.
so the Cult of the Dragon is amassing human sacrifices and gold and the dragon masks to summon Tiamat. And over the course of the campaign, the players essentially need to learn all of those things And then they also need to learn the location of the Well of Dragons where the ritual is taking place so that they can then stop it. So essentially, the entire campaign, and you know, having run the campaign before made it possible for me to prep the speed run. Prepping the speed run was essentially, how do I gate this information? How do I drip feed this information to the players so that they don't just immediately skip to the end?
Right.
So the very first thing they learned was Cult of the Dragon. Bad. Cool. You know, that's the thing you need to know.
I mean, it's a cult.
It's a cult. You know, it's right in the name.
Yeah.
Bad thing. And also, they threw a dragon at your hometown. Also bad thing.
Yeah.
Fucking Lenathon.
Yeah, so the first thing you learn is that the Cult of the Dragon is a problem. Go fix it. And then they learn that I really wish I could remember what the splits were for the speed run.
So the cult of the dragon, they were harassing towns and shit for what purpose? Just to amass money.
Yeah, so they were attacking. Okay,
For
so
the
this is
ritual?
the dumbest. Oh, this is the dumbest goddamn fucking thing. So here's the Sword Coast. Hold on.
No one can see it. There you go.
Yeah. So here's the Sword Coast. All the way up the north is Spine of the North. All the way at the bottom is Here's Greenest. And they attacked Greenest. They put the treasure on wagons, and they went all the way up the coast.
Right.
All the way past Baldur's Gate. All the way up towards Waterdeep. Into the swamp. Teleported it to a castle. Into the swamp to a castle. Teleported it to a hunting lodge. From that hunting lodge, took it to a flying castle, and then flew it to the Well of the Dragons. Which was right next to fucking Greenest!
Okay, I think the reasoning from a writing standpoint, is they wanted you to see a good amount of the world.
Right, but I don't give a shit what they wanted to do for the players. What actually happened was that stupid morons with feet and wheels transported gold 4,000 miles to put it on a flying castle so that they could transport another 3,000 miles
Ian's at like an 8 right now. He'll be at like a 15 by the time we're
to a location that was about 200 miles from where they started.
I don't think it was for the players. I think it was, hey, here's a 5e module, the first ever 5e module. How much of the world can you see that other people can talk about online?
Okay, counterpoint.
Yeah.
Elturel was 3 sentences. Elturel, the holy city of Elturgard.
Join us on Wednesdays for our Descent into Avernus stream.
What the-
We're trying to bring Elturel back, guys.
3
Yeah.
what the actual... Baldur's Gate was 2 paragraphs.
How big is Elturel in the grand scheme of things?
In the grand scheme of things, it is the 5th largest city in the Sword Coast.
Oh, that kind of sucks, sorry.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's kind of
You
bad.
have Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, Lantan...
Lantan?
What the fuck's...
Lantan.
Neverwinter. Lantan and... Neverwinter might be bigger than Lantan, depending on how long it's been since their last cataclysm.
Fuck
And then
that.
Elturel.
Okay. Alright.
And they just
Rushing.
gloss over them.
Yeah.
Luskan. Lantan? I think Lantan exists too. But I think Luskan might be the one that's actually... Yeah, Lantan's a bunch of islands. Luskan's on the Sword Coast. Thanks, Linneriah.
Okay.
Never even heard of Lanton.
And I would walk 5,000
You've heard of the Aluskan
miles.
boarworm, though.
I have heard of the Aluskan boarworm.
Neverwinter's not even close.
fucking punch that
I don't... Neverwinter's on the Sword Coast. I don't...
Is it like
Baldur's Gate is 50
on the
miles
coast?
from the coast. You have to go 50 miles up the River Kyanthar to get to Baldur's Gate. It's still on the Sword Coast. Neverwinter, like the second worst city to live in. I don't know, I feel like that's probably the worst. They get destroyed every 30 years or so.
It's only bad during that destruction time. All the rest of the time, it's pretty okay.
No, because the
Know your
Reconstruction
prophecies,
is a
fucking-
period of lawlessness and garbage.
Never mind then.
Yeah, Neverember does not know how to do his job.
So you learn all this information, you try to steal the dragon mask away from people, and then you interrupt the ritual summoning Tiamat.
Yeah, and here's the worst part. Nothing that you do over the course of 15 levels matters. Like, the ritual just continues to happen no matter how hard you tried to stop it from ever starting.
Yeah.
And also, you show up exactly when it's starting, of course.
Well, yeah, that's how the bad guy rituals go.
But
Yeah,
the
that's
campaign's written to take like 3 months.
That's how writing works. There's no stakes if you get there and it's like, oh shit, we're 2 months early. Look, there's not much shit here. Yeah, no, that's not fun.
Yeah, but like you could also like introduce like variants. Oh, did the players take a little longer? Maybe Tiamat already got summoned. Did the players be a little shorter? Maybe instead of summoning Tiamat, they end up summoning a couple devils or something like that with the ritual because they
Or
had to
here's
rush
a
through.
really easy solution. The ritual takes a month. Show up at some point during that month, and the later you show up, the worse it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Mm.
The ritual takes a month, not 3 hours. It beggars belief
Yeah.
to have the entire campaign take place over the scale of months, and then the ritual take place over hours.
At the time that you were reading it, though,
It sucked.
it still sucks.
It was terrible.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
no.
say, knowing what you know now, looking back on it, it probably sucks a lot harder. But
I will remind you, I threw out the entirety of the final chapter and rewrote it.
yeah.
My first foray into 5e DMing, I rewrote the entire final chapter.
And that was a great
Also, the books
final
were
chapter you
actually
did.
terrible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The printing of the books, they fell
Yeah.
apart.
Oh yeah.
The what?
Didn't you get like 3 different copies of that book because you kept getting shitty
Oh,
versions?
wait.
No,
it
Horde of the
wasn't
Dragon
this
Queen and
one.
Rise of Tiamat
No,
were
these
well
were-
bound.
these were fine.
No, the player's handbook, the monster manual kept
Yeah.
falling apart on me.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. I still have a monster manual that's falling apart. I had a player's handbook that was falling apart, but I gifted that to someone because they were like, I don't care about the binding, I'll rebind it.
I vaguely remember people on the internet bitching about the bindings falling off, sending it back, and then they were getting copies where like everything
Printed
was
upside down. The binding was just glued on upside down.
Yeah, I
What the
remember,
fuck?
I remember seeing those
Yeah.
pictures and going, "What the fuck, guys? You fucked up harder
They
the second
they
time."
still do that actually. I saw a
Yeah.
copy of Mordenkainen's that was upside down. I saw a copy of Eberron that was upside down.
Time for a new familiar.
I think I saw a copy of
Look up like
Wild
that.
Mount that was upside down. It's a very common error in the printing process.
Okay, but where's their fucking QA? Like, fuck.
Right.
QA can't catch every mistake. QA doesn't check every single book. QA checks every 10 books. So if a whole batch gets fucked up, well, okay, that batch is fucked. Let's toss that. But if one book, the binding landed on the belt upside down, there's no guarantee they're gonna catch it.
Yeah.
What was your homebrew edition of Tyranny of Dragons? Do you have 4 hours?
Yeah. All right. Let's go. All right. So the big homebrew was the final chapter. Like
That was the big one,
that
not
was-
the after.
Oh well, yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh,
That wasn't really an addition. That was like that wasn't an addition to the campaign. That was like a hey, let's play homebrew now.
Tiamat was still a problem.
I mean, not really. It was Utrecht.
It's still Tiamat, just like glued together a little bit, or welded, or whatever you want to call that.
I think Tim was saying he was trying to get a job at Wizards at one point.
wait, what? No, he said he works in publishing.
No, at some point in the past,
Oh, really?
several weeks ago on the Avernus Discord, because that's where I
Tim.
met Tim.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Fix everything.
So the big thing that I changed with Tyranny of Dragons was the entire final chapter. So instead of whatever's in the book, I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure what's in the book is there's a siege happening. Go do the sneak in.
Yes, that is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
So the book presents like, based on how well you did or what specific things you did throughout the campaign, a bunch of different factions will like you, and send resources to help because they're petty enough to withhold resources from a world-ending threat.
Those fucking dragons. I hate those fucking dragons. They're fucking whiny, bitchy assholes. They fucking suck.
Oh my god.
That
was
chapter
easily
was
the most
garbage.
Painful part of the campaign.
Did you like how I handled it in the speed run though?
Yes.
Cool.
What,
Yes.
the 2-day flight over? You know what happened? We teleport back? That was fucking dumb!
For anyone who doesn't know how it's actually written, there's so much of them being petty.
Yeah.
Like someone didn't do. I can't even remember.
So
exactly what it is.
the pettiness essentially came from each of the dragon kings or whatever the fuck they are,
Mhm.
the leaders of the respective metallic dragon colors.
Didn't Nox sleep with?
No, that was Elia. She was just a
Yeah,
random
she's
silver dragon in
Scholar.
Waterdeep.
Oh, alright. That would have been cool though. You should have did that.
But
Thanks, Spam Dragons.
but each of the dragons essentially wanted a concession from one of the small folk races.
For
So-
a really dumb fucking reason.
Yeah, so
No, they were dumb.
Some of them.
okay,
were.
so Protanther, if I recall correctly, the king of dragons, the gold dragon,
Yeah.
I think his mate was killed by dwarves, and he's like, "Hey dwarves, apologize. That's all I want. Apologize."
But at
Yeah,
some
But
point...
still, the metallic dragons,
Yeah.
who were literally incapable of disobeying Bahamut, would most likely want to prevent the return of Tiamat. So why the fuck do I have to convince them to help us?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they just do that anyway? So in the speedrun, I just said, yes, they're helping. You need to try to coordinate with them.
Paulsome, I sound half the volume of Ian because Ian is just so fucking
I'm very
passionate.
loud. No, I'm very loud. I'm also like half the distance
No,
from the mic.
you're actually way louder than normal.
Yeah. I'm very passionate
Take
about
it down!
those modules. So yeah.
So to take it back a little bit, do you think the main failing of the module was that it was too ambitious?
That's a good question.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah, I think they tried to do everything for everyone and they ended up half-assing everything.
Also, they went to pretty high level compared to most starting books.
Yeah, no, it's aside from Dungeons the Mad Mage,
This is
Tyranny
level
of Dragons
1 to what?
goes the highest. This goes from level 1 to
Jeez.
15.
Damn.
The Curse of Strahd goes to 11 out of the Abyss, and Apocalypse goes to like 12 or 13. TOA goes to 11 or 12.
To be fair, because 4E sucks so much and they knew it, for people who tried it coming out of like 3 and 3.5, they knew they needed to do something really big
Yeah.
in order to get people back in.
Yeah, and
Because how many people fucking went to Pathfinder once 4E came out? Let's be real.
4E was literally the reason Pathfinder came out.
Exactly.
No, Pathfinder came out after 4E, if I
Yeah,
recall
okay.
correctly.
So that
It was a
makes total
direct
sense.
response to 4E sucks.
Right.
If you guys want to continue playing something that's like 3.5,
Yeah.
come play Pathfinder. And Paizo made fucking bank off of Wizards dropping the goddamn ball with 4E. Descent to Avernus is 1 to 13, as written.
Yeah.
So Tyranny of Dragons is the second highest level published campaign thus far.
So they knew they needed to do something big, and they fell horrendously short, but they still got people back in.
Tim, if you think the level 1 to 5 content in Avernus sucks, look at our first 8 episodes. I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Ian did really well with the beginning of Descend to Avernus.
You'll have to check it out on our YouTube, which is in the doobly-doo.
Don't,
In
please
the
don't say
doobly-doo.
that.
In the
You're not
doobly-doo.
allowed to fucking... I hate Colville. Get out of here.
I mean, he's alright.
Unpopular opinion. I don't like Colville.
Anyway, yeah, I do think that it was too ambitious. I think that they tried to do everything and they kind of just like.
Is there anything that was worth keeping? Anything you thought that was interesting? Is there anything that you adapted into a later module because you were like, oh shit, that's actually a really good idea, bro?
No.
Cool. Love it. Alright, next. Nothing? Red Wizards of Thay, like that were they were already like a known thing, right?
Yeah,
It
Thayans
wasn't
are a
like
long
fucking-
history
yeah.
group.
Really?
Tyranny didn't invent anything. They didn't
They
make.
just recycled
They,
and made it.
it's not that they recycled. They just took a lot of like they made a lot of references to established Forgotten Realms lore. They really didn't reinvent anything. They didn't add any new takes on anything. Factions are garbage. Don't at me.
Andy said we can't be friends anymore, Steph. Why? Because I shit on Colville.
They didn't drop the ball. They kicked it into the oil, set it on fire, then decided to spear it a few times with rusty fire pokers just to be sure it was royally screwed. Honestly, yeah, pretty much. That was for him. Yeah, like.
But at will powers.
I had fucking index cards
Yeah.
for all of my encounter powers, all of my fucking utility powers, and were they actually at will powers?
There were at will,
Is that what they
encounter,
were
daily,
called?
and
Okay.
then utility, which could be either at will, encounter, or daily.
And then I had a separate piece of paper with all my feats because I had 20 plus feats.
Yep.
All the fucking
Yeah,
feats.
you get a feat at
Oh
every
my
even level.
God.
So what are some of the positives of Tyranny of Dragons?
What are some of the positives?
he said no.
I'm honestly trying to come up with one.
He just
It
gave me
has
blank answer.
Well,
Dragons,
not anything that
and
you
it has
could-
dungeons.
It does have dragons and it has dungeons.
Does it have a dungeon?
Yeah, it's got dungeons.
Does it?
Yeah.
You
I
sure?
mean,
Okay.
depending on your definition of dungeon, the
Yeah.
No, there's literally there's like
Are there
I'm thinking of
prisoners?
one very obvious example of a dungeon. It was the dungeon in the Serpent Hills. You were chasing after Varum the White to try and get the white dragon mask. And it's like this whole dungeon complex with a mummy lord and a bunch of Yuan-Ti at the end. Yeah, it's very much a dungeon.
I don't remember that.
It's not super memorable. Let's be real.
Yeah.
At the beginning, there was a mosaic manticore.
What?
What?
Yeah, there was a manticore made of mosaic tiles.
How do you remember this? Oh, because it's so fucking dumb.
Because I remember everything.
I wish I was you, man. My master's degree would have been cake with your fucking memory. Was there anything that we didn't explore that you wish we had?
No.
All right, cool. Next.
No, you explored everything.
I want to talk about.
Hang on, back on that question. No, there isn't anything you didn't explore and I wish you had because it's so fucking linear. The entire campaign is on rails. What was the best part of Tyranny of Dragons?
That's an individual question, so everybody else can do
Yeah.
their answers.
What was the best part? If you got an answer,
I loved the war we did.
I think
homebrew.
That
Yeah,
was
I think
homebrew.
Homebrew.
yeah. Like he was so fucking proud of that. It was like, dude, you
Yeah.
fucking knocked it out of the fucking park.
So what Ian did for us was with the final siege onto where
The Well of Dragons.
the Wall of Dragons. Ian said, "Okay, everyone take a group that you want to be like the fucking commander over." And it was a turn by turn, like, what do you do with your group of thing?
And each group was like 100 units.
Right.
Each round was 10 minutes instead of 6 seconds.
It was very strategic. It was very like militaristic, and
Yeah.
that was really cool. Homebrew, so
Totally.
not related to the
I
novel.
actually used I think it was like the second or third Unearthed Arcana article, which was mass combat.
Oh, okay.
Oh damn, that was well timed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's cool. I have pictures of that on my phone. I'll have to find them and post them to the Discord. Like we used an armoire.
Yeah, I used the doors of essentially like one of these
One of the
miniatures
big-
cabinets, and that was our initiative. Just each group was an index card, and it was
And it was taped
literally
on
like
there.
40
Yeah.
groups.
It was
It took
really
like
cool.
what, 3 sessions?
I think it was two. It was
I think
two
it was
sessions
two.
for the war, and then you transitioned into individual combat in the Well of Dragons, and then that took 2 sessions.
Mm.
Welcome back to 4E.
To be
Yeah.
fair, that fight did actually take something like 2 hours, and then the final combat, which we dropped back into 6-second rounds, was, if I recall correctly, 27 rounds of combat.
Do you plan on doing something like that war again?
If the
Also
campaign
for you, yes.
if the campaign calls for it, honestly, yeah. It's kind of hard.
Avernus.
That could maybe, possibly, probably not.
Heaven versus hell. Let's go.
Or, Hell versus Abyss.
Nah.
Because that's literally a war that's already
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could maybe happen. If you somehow manage to rally the Hell Riders, what's left of them, and,
That's not that many though.
it really isn't.
Yeah.
And also, they aren't what they used to be, because last time they had an angel.
Yeah.
Um,
Abaddon can be that angel, okay?
Yeah, I'm a
He's
fat
like he's
Tinkerbell.
he's as smart as it is. Like he's kind of almost there. He's like 500 pounds of pure fat, but like he's still got wings.
750, get it right.
yeah, he's 750 pounds now.
Jesus fucking Christ. Christ.
Um,
Mike, his weight doubled.
tripled.
Tripled.
Tri-
Sorry, he took a thing that tripled his weight.
I wasn't that fat to start.
Yeah, it wasn't 375 pounds. I was only 250.
My 750-pound life.
Have I ever thought about adding Spelljammers into one of my campaigns? There was a Space Jammer in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. It was a Spelljammer. I'm just retarded.
Wasn't it missing its like helm of fucking dimension fuckery or
it
something?
It was indeed missing its helm, and I do not at this time recall where the helm of the Scavenger can be found.
Gross.
Probably.
I'm practicing for Sunday.
Oh, Rick and Morty burping every third word.
Yeah.
God, I'm not. I swear to God, if you throw up and drool on your chin, there's nothing that pisses me off more than that fucking animation. I'm like, wipe your chin. Please. I can't.
Alright.
We're just gonna keep referencing
Yeah,
Rick and Morty.
you guys say what your favorite part was. I'm gonna go pee.
That was my favorite part. Mike already agreed with me. Luke, do you have one?
I'm trying to think one that wasn't homebrew. My favorite part that wasn't
Definitely when you fucked the dragon lady.
homebrew.
I'm trying to think of like what my favorite part would be. That wasn't.
No, that was homebrew too. I was gonna say when Ian made what was the Draculish's name? That was a sword.
Ah, Christ. Hazaron.
Yeah, Azeron and Lenahon both attacked us, and we had to fight both of them off. At the
Is
same
that where
time.
Mike died?
No, Mike died to a white dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dragon.
Mike got so
Oh.
mad. And then how did we circumvent that?
He circumvented it.
So we found. I think this is my favorite part actually. We found a deck of many things.
Yeah.
And
Oh God.
everybody else got
First
minorly
campaign.
fucked or minorly good stuff. Wasn't anything world changing.
Yeah.
I drew Star. I got 2 wishes. First wish I used on revivifying myself after I got blasted from full health to dead by a white dragon. That was
so mad.
I was so mad, but I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just use one of these wishes. And then the second wish I used on, and I didn't tell anybody this. I don't think anybody figured it out. I used that on making my wild magic surge more controllable. And God, I used that so fucking
Controllable
often. I loved that table.
Did you make a new fucking table with new ranges?
No, I made a new mechanic where once a day. So it worked a lot like the Evocation Wizard over channel feature, where the first time it was free, and then subsequent times it would damage him. I don't think you literally ever damaged yourself with it.
That's why you liked it.
Never needed to.
But what essentially what it was.
I think you set it up so that I could reroll, or I could add a d6 plus or minus to whatever my wild surge roll was.
Yeah.
And the first time for each wild surge, it was free. And then if I wanted to keep using it on each wild surge, it would start hurting me.
No, I think it was each day.
I used it like a motherfucker. There's no way.
I think it was. I think Mike's right.
Okay. I'll believe it. And then later on, I want to say like Sorcerer 14, you get the feature where you roll twice on the Wild Surge table.
Yep.
And pick one.
Yep.
And then you would add or subtract d6 from both of them.
Yep. And I only once got the thing that makes me explode every round for a minute.
That one was crazy.
It was awesome. I only got it once, and that combat only lasted like 3 rounds anyway.
Yeah,
so like,
is that 1 or 100?
I think it's 100, 99 and 100.
Okay.
Did that stem from you not liking how random Wild Mage was, or what?
Nah, fuck it. I loved the fuck out of the Wild Surge, and I was just like, I need something to use this wish on, and I can't think of anything good. Fuck it. Let's make myself stronger somehow, slightly.
Yeah.
And
You could have
never
wished the
told
tiefling
anybody.
blood out of you, and then you would have been well liked because racism.
I mean, that eventually did happen, kind of, sort of, or was that retconned?
The what?
I don't remember.
What was what? Retcon?
Like Tiamat got spanked and the tiefling went away.
Oh, that was in the homebrew extension.
I think that was after everything was done.
No, in the homebrew extension, you switched from Tiefling to Aasimar. because the trickery domain in your blood was stronger in a good god than an evil god, which makes no sense. I got that. That's not how tiefling works.
In great great grandpappy boned an angel. That's why the lineage turned back to human.
Right, but tieflings aren't by
No, shut up, it's
blood,
fine.
they're by deals.
No,
with
shut up, it's fine.
devils.
It's fine.
Yeah. It worked in my lore. Whatever.
So I kind of want Luke to go off with this next question. So this was your first real module
Campaign.
This was your first real foray into D&D, period. Like, 4E doesn't really count because you were there for a fucking session. The starter
Half a
set you
session.
didn't finish. What made you interested in D&D based off of what you saw, and why did you want to keep playing? And I'm not going to hear your answer, I gotta pee, but you know, everyone else will listen.
I don't know. That's a hard question because it's like when you specify it versus why are you interested in D&D and why the specific campaign interested me in D&D. I don't know if I could say that like one is based on the other. Like, I can't say that my interest in D&D was based on this specific campaign.
Okay. I mean, I think the question is essentially, why did you continue playing with us despite the shit show that Tyranny was?
I don't know, it was the little things, like the fact that I still remember a +1 sword from like the starter set that was like nothing, that like just, I don't know, it was just a way to explore and to, it's just a different medium of entertainment that you can introduce yourself into and then introduce a group into. So it's more of a, it's not sitting and watching a screen or tapping on a keyboard or like playing with a controller or like shooting someone down or something. It's something that you not only devote time but energy, thought, and a whole bunch of, like, you grow with the game and the characters and stuff like that. So I don't know, I felt like it was something that was, it's both interesting and both it can help people grow. So
oh man,
you missed the whole damn
God
thing.
damn it! I put my headphone in at the last word.
You said so much deep shit.
Yeah, wow. Like Luke, I feel like I peered into your soul a little bit.
It's because you get to do a thing that you wouldn't in real life, and exploring that part that you can't fucking let out is really
Hashtag deep.
Yeah, alright, see? I can just say it like a fuckhead instead of sounding deep.
Luke revealed the secrets of the universe.
And a lot of people say that your first D&D character is most like you.
I say that a lot. I say it a lot. That the first D&D. No, I know, but I'm saying I say it a lot. That, you know, your first D&D character is the idealized version of yourself.
So Keanu Reeves.
Ragnar was an asshole.
Yeah. Idealized version of yourself.
Yeah. Hey man, I didn't kick puppies.
Oh god, mine was a
homebrew
4E shaman.
No, shaman actually existed in 4E.
Existed in 4E? Okay, I was a shaman, so I want to heal people.
Yeah.
And I had daddy issues. Like,
where's shaman at, though? 5e, get on it.
Where's Shaman 5e? There's homebrew.
There is actually a homebrew. Steph tried one.
Eiley
was briefly a homebrew shaman.
That was a campaign no, Halen was in Luke's campaign.
Where's fucking Binder?
Binder's garbage.
But yeah, there's a homebrew binder, and it has the same problem. It has literally the same problem that Mystic has, where you essentially pick like 4 or 5 vestiges to bind to yourself. And then each vestige comes with like 5 or 6 fucking abilities.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's literally the exact same problem as Mystic.
Jeez.
For some reason, I gravitate toward having a lot of options, but for some reason, spells don't do that for me.
That is odd. That's very odd.
That's super odd, because that's the most options ever.
Because spells aren't super unique. Like, most spells have multiple classes that have the that can access them, while if you're a specific class, you have unique features that not other classes usually can access
Yeah.
without
I guess,
significant dip.
It's a little bit more built into you as opposed to just picking a spell and like being able to do that thing for the day.
Joey says, I didn't
Yeah,
do that,
you
Lamau.
did.
I was a turtle monk. I just wanted to play Master Oogway.
That's
Fucking
great.
hell. Ugh.
But like if you dip to druid for wild shape, you're not just taking a spell. You're
Yeah.
dipping
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
ability to turn into an animal. That's gonna be a big part of the character rather than just casting a spell.
I like really thematic stuff. It's like how does this change the character? How
Yeah.
can it evolve? How can it fucking
Which is why Nixie multi-class.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I have a shield. I'm a little dark now.
He's my patron.
Yeah,
My
sugar
shield
daddy.
is my patron. And not a hexblade.
Yeah. No, I really like seeing characters evolve, but I don't
Well, it's a
always
shield,
know where
not
to
a blade.
start.
That's
I mean, close enough. It's fine.
He's-
You're an idiot, Mike.
he's a pit fiend in a shield.
Yeah.
Still a shield.
Next question.
I was gonna ask Mike about, is Malarak your favorite character, Mike?
No, Siku. Wait,
Just look at the art on your wall. Look at the portrait on your
Because
wall.
if
That's all your
Malarak
characters.
was your favorite
minus
character,
Denver.
I was gonna ask you, like, why? What about that character? Is it the actual mechanics of the class that you chose? Is it meaningful in some sort of other way based on a backstory you built for it, or...
I actually have a follow-up
I think
question.
yeah, Malarak is because I got way into the fucking sextuple agent bullshit I tried to do with him. It never worked out, but it was fun as hell to do it anyway.
It's like me and Roland.
Yeah.
A lot of things don't get to go off when you try to be creative. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because you have this great idea for it, and it's like, well, I have to... The problem with having a character like that, and if you guys ever fucking vote for Dungeons of the Mad Mage, which I hope you do, we'll get into that.
I think Dungeons of the Mad Mage was second in the poll last week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It's our
Storm
first
King
one that we
Thunder win.
streamed, so like you'll actually have shit to reference it with if you actually watched it while we played it real time.
Oh my god, Mike played a robot? What?
Yeah. The problem with having a character that you have future motivations for, that you have a secret that no one else knows about and you want it to go off, blah blah blah, I found that you need to have transparency player to player.
Yep.
And not character to character, and it's really hard to do that because you need complete separation of player and character then,
Yeah.
which a lot of people are not good at
A
doing.
lot of people are really bad at not metagaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also super tough when you're trying to make it a big part of your character, because you have to realize that you are in a campaign setting, and that campaign setting is gonna take precedent over.
It's like you need to have
character
so much
specific thing.
more about your character than just that one thing.
Right.
And actually, one of the first characters that I ever played, in fact, it might have been the first character I ever played, which was Kendros.
Homebrew second, not Dungeons of the Mad Mage.
Okay. Kendros, my Goliath cleric.
Mhm.
I based essentially his entire identity around the fact that he was a cleric of Vecna, without, like, he didn't realize that his god was Vecna. His god was evil when he started worshiping him, and then he's like, yeah, like, I get powers from Vecna, but like I don't really agree with the whole undead shit. So he tried to hide that from the rest of the party, and I based a large part of his identity around that, hiding it from the party.
Yeah.
And that sucks at the table, because
It does.
my whole personality was, I don't want to tell you anything. And that was garbage. Like, it sucked.
Garbage. Great concept. It'd be a great movie to watch, maybe, if
Right.
you had insights to
Yeah.
that character's mind. But
or
it
if I had
doesn't
just
work.
told the other players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paulson was a great question.
What's that?
What's the DM's favorite character that someone else has played? Look at
That
the
he
wall.
is DM.
Looking at the wall. What was my favorite character out of everyone? Alright, least favorite character, Gladius.
Gladius was a warforged in our 4E homebrew who repeatedly broke fights. We would enter every fight where he would, like, land on shit and it would, like, explode
It was like
as
a
he
hybrid
landed.
sword mage.
He was a hybrid
battle
sword mage battle mind. No, he was a hybrid. He was a hybrid of 2 classes, and then he multi-classed into a third, because that's a thing you can do in
I
And
Glory.
that player
forgot about the
knew
third one.
exactly what he was doing, and we opened we had a flying castle. We owned a fucking flying castle, so we'd start every fight with like hovering over it, and then just fucking jump.
Yeah, and you had windows of Featherfall or whatever. Window of Escape was what it was called, and you jump out of it, and you essentially Featherfall to the ground.
Mike,
But
right,
I accidentally ruled that your momentum is transferred into the thing you land on, instead of like rebounding onto you, because I just wanted to make a cool scene where he lands on a balcony and the floor cracks, and he's like, "Wait, that means I can kill people by landing on them." So that's what they
ballerina.
did. Obese ballerina is what we called it, because he was a warforged. He weighed like 600 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's what they did for the rest of the campaign. They landed on people. At some point, I started beefing up. At some point, I started beefing up fights with the assumption that they would kill half of it at the beginning.
For some reason, I was never angry that he was overpowered too. It was just like, okay, this is how the fight's opening. Like, this is great. Okay, come in and just do cleanup, and we were all okay with that.
He wasn't really overpowered. He was just no. It was his power level was okay. The major issue was Ian did a thing. Gladius said, "Nah, you didn't though." Like, and he had like 4 different ways to do that.
Yeah.
That's fun as a player, and then for the DM, it's just incredibly
thoroughly
frustrating.
Yeah. That was 4th edition.
Counterspell your counterspell.
Right.
That was Defender's Story in a nutshell.
Yeah. Imagine a wizard who has 3 reactions a turn, and you try to counterspell his spell, and he just says, "How about you fucking don't?"
Yeah.
Favorite
that someone else has played in 5e.
Alright, so I have 2 favorites. I have a favorite mechanically and a favorite roleplay. So my favorite roleplay...
I will not have mechanical, and I'm pretty sure I won't have roleplay.
My favorite roleplay, and that's like the way they interacted with the story and made the story their own, was Enna.
Oh, fuck off.
Eat a dick, fuck off. You were the central character in our favorite campaign.
His homebrew. Yeah. And his homebrew, the one that he made, so yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense.
Like Enna interacted with the spirits in a way that no other character has, ever, before or after Enna.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of the spirits thing in Zaralight, which we'll get into if you guys ever pick homebrew.
I'm gonna give a really like 1-sentence summary, because I'm good at summing up.
I have a better summary. Gods get their power from worshippers. Spirits get their powers from concepts. Done.
There was a war between gods and spirits.
That's ancillary.
Relax. It's one more sentence. There's one. Relax. God between wars and spirits. Spirits got fucked in the ass, and I was one of the few people that believed spirits still existed. So that's why it was cool. That's what made it.
A god between wars and spirits.
A war between gods and spirits. Nailed it. How many beers deep am I in?
2.5. No, just 2.
Just 2.
Just 2.
That's alright.
Lightweight.
I'm bad with words. It's fine. But yeah, no, okay. Then mechanically.
I think mechanically Varys, honestly.
Oh, wait. Alright, wait till Luke comes back so we can hear.
Luke!
It's Luke's character. Oh, you can see Varys.
Stop pooping.
Other side.
Where the fuck is he? Right there. He's the guy that looks like Drax. Yeah. He's got hella tattoos. He's a Goliath. Put your goddamn... Oh, you don't need headphones. You can hear us. Ian.
Does he need headphones?
No. Yeah, he's had them off the whole time.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, mechanically my favorite is Varys. Even though, like, he's not even, like, mechanically, like, complex. He's just an ancestral barbarian.
I'd fuck Varys. Like, look at him.
I just really enjoyed the way that Luke played him. And it, like, so we actually have 2 different ancestral barbarians, Varys and Arland.
Arlen was in our TOA campaign.
Yeah, Arlen was Megan in our TOA campaign. But the way Luke played Varys was just so... Wait, was Ilhard? Oh, Ilhard was ancestral too, wasn't he? Was he?
What the fuck is... What is this?
What?
What is Luke doing right now?
Oh, the fucking chicken neck? He just does
Ilhard was also ancestral. But the way Luke played Varys was superlative in terms of
Fuck.
tanking
Forgot to drink.
and keeping the rest of the party from dying.
Ancestral, like, fucking,
Except for that one time Bastus
build
died.
is...
Yeah, well, Bastus deserved to die.
He really didn't. That whole fight was bullshit from his perspective.
You're bullshit.
Really good build and
I'll
played it very
bully
We'll
your
talk about
shit.
that if and when we get to Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah.
But
It's gonna go
today,
20 times for Storm King's Thunder now.
the topic is Tyranny of Dragons. So next question.
I think I'm out.
Ah, Jesus. Ah,
Would-
jeez, Rick.
Oh, were the dragon masks a decent magic item?
What?
Were the dragon masks a decent magic item?
No, they're stupid as hell.
Alright, cool.
They were godlike for the charisma classes, and
Yeah.
for everybody else.
Not
the
even-
one sorcerer.
Not even the charisma classes. They're godlike for warlocks and sorcerers. They're meh for bards and garbage for paladins, because they only add your charisma to your AC if you're not wearing armor.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
So they're good for spellcasters, but they're terrible for everyone unless they use the homebrew that you add.
No. So the homebrew that I added was that as an action, you can just make the mask invisible.
People wouldn't attack you on sight if they saw you were wearing
Just
a dragon
take
mask.
the fucking mask off.
Yeah,
Wear it
but
on
then
the back
you
of your
lose your
head.
AC bonus.
Yeah, but then
That
as an
was basically
interaction,
what the
slap
action
it
was.
on. Like
Like your thing was, it goes invisible, intangible. You don't get bonuses. It's just gone from
Yeah.
reality, but still bound to you.
right.
And yeah, just take it off.
Yeah,
That
just
was
take it
kinda
off, put it in the
neat,
bag.
unnecessary.
Exactly. Mainly
Take
good
your
for
helmet out of the
draconic
bag and think it was
bloodline,
only
like
damage.
like Zop for the speedrun.
Oh yeah, I picked, what color did I have?
You had the green dragon mask.
Yeah, the green
Yeah.
dragon mask as my legendary item. Does everyone know your speedrun rules when we run speedruns?
I don't think they do. So our character creation rules for speedruns is that you're a level 20 character. Multi-classes are totally fine.
Mhm.
UA is acceptable.
We don't do like some AL bullshit where you get like
Yeah, we don't do the
main
PHP plus one.
one.
And then you get 1 legendary, 1 very rare, 2 rare, and 3 uncommon magic items.
And
Kind of
And-
PHP plus one for magic items.
I do
Yeah.
PHP plus Xanathars plus Skag plus 1. Where the plus 1 is essentially you pick as your background.
Mhm.
So you pick a background like you would
module.
normally,
you pick
but
a
you
module.
also pick a backstory module. So you
Yeah.
pick an entire published campaign as your character's adventuring history, just to
That's
sort
how
of
you got level 20.
just to explain like why the fuck are you a level 20 adventurer?
I got level 20 in the Lost Mines of Fandelver.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, okay.
Fuck you,
we-
Spider.
So Steph picked Tyranny of Dragons as her background.
Yeah.
So when you pick that background campaign, you get access to all the magic items from that campaign.
So
as
I
well.
had the green
You had the
dragon
green
mask
dragon
as my
mask.
legendary, and I played a kobold
Kobold sourced
who
it in.
overtook one of the guys with the mask, and then I was teleported to Barovia.
Didn't Luke have the red dragon mask?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were bros.
So Luke overtook the fucking cold because he had the red dragon mask. He's the red worm speaker.
Yeah, but I don't respect his authority.
Respect my authority.
But yeah, like that formula actually seems to go pretty well for the speedruns we've run so far. Cursistrad took 8 or 9 hours, and Tyranny of Dragons took 13 hours, and it only
Because of
took
Luriah.
13 hours because we fought way too many fucking summons.
We
Could have taken like a half hour less if you didn't do that fucking fortune teller fancy bullshit.
Hey man, that
No,
fortune
that's
teller fancy
essential.
bullshit was essential.
That's essential to the story. Abso-fucking-lutely 100%.
Hundo Posento.
Yeah.
So a question that I had actually wanted to ask for Tyranny of Dragons was, Mike, I feel like
Uh-oh.
Wild Magic Sorcerer is sort of maligned in the 5e realm, either because the player doesn't want it to go off as often as it does, or the DM just thinks it's overpowered bullshit and they never offer Wild Magic Surges. How do you feel about having been a Wild Magic Sorcerer? And feel free to explain how we ran it.
Okay, so the way we ran it, the main way that it was triggered was when Tides of Chaos was consumed. If you cast a spell, you could
Leveled
surge.
spell.
Yeah, leveled spell. You could potentially surge to get that Tides of Chaos back.
Mhm.
You turned that into roll a d4. If it's a 1, no. Otherwise, yes.
Yep.
And I fucking wild surged all the fucking time, and it was great, but it was bad because the random just goofy nonsense. Like it was fun. It was fucking dumb goofy fun. But from a everybody else perspective, I'm sure it was fucking obnoxious. And on top of that, just throwing so much random bullshit, like fucking Spork of Doom shit going on over here.
Steph and Luke, do you feel like his wild magic was oppressive or annoying or
No,
interrupted
and
things?
having played a... Was that 40?
You played a 40 wild magic sorcerer.
Alright, whatever. Part of the reason I play D&D is for chaotic shit to happen. Whether it's good or bad, if it completely fucks us over and we all die because of randomness of, like, spellcasting, I'm totally fine with that because that's cool as shit. So your bullshit never bothered me.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little reprieve from the story. Like, even if it did happen at an opportune time, was something to like I don't know, some kind of comedy aspect or some kind of like just something to break away from the story itself.
It's memorable if nothing else.
Yeah.
On that topic, here's a good question. Name one memorable moment where wild magic went off. Yeah, I think that's a good response. Yeah, no, like
Fuck,
This was 6 years ago almost.
I summoned a unicorn once.
5 years
I
ago.
don't remember what happened.
You actually did that twice.
Twice?
Yep, one was hostile, one was friendly.
I remember when Mike died, but that had nothing to do with wild magic bullshit. I just remember how mad he got.
Actually, now that you mention the unicorn, I remember. So at the very, very end of Horde of the Dragon Queen, you happened to summon a unicorn as Skyreach Castle was flying away. And if Skyreach Castle flies away without you on it, what you're supposed to have to do is go back into Parnast and grab some wyverns and fly up. But you have to make some animal handling checks to make them not bite you and eat you. You just summoned a unicorn, and unicorns can once a day teleport them and anyone touching them up to a mile.
Awesome. I don't remember that. That sounds fucking awesome. Go me.
So that's the only
But
one
on the flip side of all that, I think the main issue with Wild Surge is that it's completely at the DM's mercy. If they don't want it to ever fucking go off, it's almost never going to go off. It's only going to go off on the 1 in 20 chance when you fucking cast a spell, and that blows. Or it could go off all the fucking time, and that can also get overbearing.
Yeah.
But
and the scaling isn't super effective, as in like what you do as you level up. Like
most of the things don't affect combat in any meaningful way. Like it's like, oh, polymorph yourself into a fucking plant. Well, that sucks no matter what. But cast Fireball on yourself at level 1, that's a TPK. You're dead.
I think that would be cool. I think that'd be funny as shit. It's like,
it's
okay,
cool, but like, oh, you just
re-roll.
started a campaign and now you have to reroll characters.
see you guys next week. Reroll.
Honestly, especially with more experienced players, it's kind of like, all right, what other character do I have in mind? Let's fucking build that quick.
It depends on how emotionally invested you are in the character. Like, if you spend 3 weeks planning a character, getting ready to start the campaign, blah, 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 and then an hour into the first session, you just TPK because
yeah,
20. Right.
Yeah.
That would suck dicks. But if you're like, oh, okay, like I've got a list of 8 characters that I really want to play sometime in the future. Let me grab the top one on the stack. Let's start playing. And then you TPK whatever.
I'm never that type of player.
Which type of player?
The type of player that has 8 characters in their back pocket.
Right, so you're the other type of player who gets really invested in their character and get really upset when you die.
But I don't mind dying. I mean, not anymore. Ask me that fucking 5 years ago. No, but...
I think because at this point you've reached that I have 8 characters because you've made that many characters.
Yeah.
So, like...
Right. You don't have a backlog of 8 characters, but you've got a back story of 8 characters.
Yeah.
And like at this point, it's probably fairly easy for you to come up with just something like, okay, oh yeah, I got an idea for a new guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It basically boils down to what class haven't I played yet.
Yeah, pretty much.
At this point, I haven't played a bard. I haven't played a wizard. That might be it.
Have you played Cleric?
You're thinking too simple.
But
What multi-class haven't I played yet?
yeah.
See,
There's a lot of multi-class combinations.
I don't think
there's a lot of subclasses too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different characters you can build. What
when you
weird
look at
race
the
class
class-
combo haven't I played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. When
Gnome
you look at
barbarian.
the classes, you limit
Gnome
Or
barbarian.
wizard.
your stuff.
I fucking love gnome barbarians.
no barbarians. Yeah.
Goliath wizard.
Why?
Goliath with a teeny tiny little
Teeny
stick
tiny
wand.
weapon.
Who gives a shit? Sword and board barbarian is the best barbarian.
Eh.
Oh,
Varus was
really?
sword and board.
Yeah, but Varus was also an ancestral barbarian. Like if you're
Which
gonna
is
be,
the best kind of barbarian.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, if you're gonna be like Denton and then just go swinging and don't care if you
Yeah.
die, I don't think you want a normal sword.
Yeah, can you imagine Denton with a fucking shield? Like, I can't die, but I'm still gonna try not to.
At that point, just drop the shield and fucking two-hand your fucking one-handed sword.
Two-hand your longsword, yeah. But no, as to Mike's comment about how wild magic is almost entirely a DM discretion, I think that brings up a good point about how there's a lot of class features that don't necessarily work at DM discretion as written, but what a lot of people have experienced is that they work at DM discretion in practice. And the biggest one that I can think of is sneak attack. And it is a goddamned travesty. But a lot of DMs think, no, you didn't surprise him. Like, he knows you're there. You don't get sneak attack. You motherfucker. My ally's next to him. I punch him in the kidney. It's a sneak attack.
Yeah, surprises. There's a very discrete set of rules for sneak
Yeah,
attack.
but-
What's DM discretion have to do with anything there?
The DM technically has latitude to change the rules. Technically.
Fuck that.
Right.
I mean, that's the point where you just get up and leave because
Right.
you're not playing the same game.
You're not respecting the
Right.
core
And
rules.
that's
Yeah.
the topic that I'm kind of trying to bring up,
Yeah.
where the DM has a lot of power
Yeah.
to
Yeah, rule 0.
rule 0,
Yeah.
fuck the rules. This is cool. Sure. But essentially the players have veto power over the DM. Or the DM has veto power.
That one.
I think the DM has veto power over the players, but the players can also overrule them with a 2/3 majority.
But you're a DM that
Yeah.
subscribes to
that's
rule
fair.
of cool, or what does
Players
it
can
take
also
to
just
have...
get up and leave.
Exactly.
You subscribe to rule or cool, or what would make it more fun for the player.
Yep.
And then secondary, everyone else. Like at the table. Like, obviously, if you buff someone to the point of no fucking return and all the other players feel inadequate, then that's
Which I've
not
done,
okay.
and I've tried to fix.
With who?
Malarak, in fact.
Fuck you, Malarak.
Hey, man.
That was actually, so while we were playing Tyranny of Dragons,
Hey, wow, we circled back. Good job.
right? I realized at some point that the Quicken Mad Magic seems completely fucking worthless because of the bonus action spell rules. It's like if you quicken a fucking fireball, you can't cast another fireball. That seems stupid as hell.
Bullshit.
Go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So I let you do it. And then you did it like 3 times, and then I was like, wow, this is total horse shit.
Fireball.
And then I told you, like, sorry, my first ruling sucked. You have to go back to the rules as written.
Could you imagine if Zogrim was able to do that?
Well, Zogrim was a
Oh,
wizard.
he was a wizard, wasn't a sorcerer, never mind.
That
So no.
said,
Never mind.
I have since added a homebrew where everyone has every meta magic.
Yeah, so he could have.
So, well, no, he couldn't have because I didn't add the homebrew until like a third
No,
of the way
I'm
through.
saying if you fucking.
Yeah, with that homebrew.
You can now.
You can now. Yeah, if you want to be a wizard with.
Didn't you also go back on the double
I did.
bonus
Yeah.
action quicken whatever again? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because double fireball is powerful as hell, but you're burning through slots doing that.
Yeah, you're burned to
Yeah.
2 third-level spell slots and 2 sorcery points. The main problem isn't, how much resource you're spending to get effect. The main problem is action economy. So the game is essentially designed around the fact that each player gets 1 turn, and each enemy gets 1 turn, and players are roughly balanced against one another with the assumption that they get 1 turn. And if you can quicken fireball, quicken fireball, you basically get 2 goddamn turns that round.
Yeah.
But then fighter gets action surge, which allows him to basically take 2 fucking turns that round. So I mean, like,
Where do you draw the line?
where do you draw the line?
That one guy actually brought up concentration on one spell at a time.
Concentration's huge.
It's incredibly... Concentration's incredibly fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't think it should ever be removed.
Right.
Though. Like
Right.
concentration, like removing concentration is like a really.
So if you
That's
remove
what I was gonna say.
concentration,
It sucks
you go
when
back
you
to
need
3rd
it.
edition. What was the name for the Codzilla or whatever?
What? No one knows what you're talking about.
No.
It's apparent.
yeah,
I think I think at one point
powerful enough.
Yeah.
I think that at one point we had tried a concentration variant where you had concentration slots up to the spell level you knew.
Yep, I tried that.
A spell used up that spell level's worth of concentration slots, so you could concentrate on multiple things.
Right.
But I don't think we like that overall.
Yeah, no, that didn't go very far. But no,
Mystic-
but Codzilla, COD, Cleric or Druid Zilla, it was a build in 3rd edition where essentially Divine Casters, which is Clerics and Druids, could stack so many goddamn buffs on themselves because concentration didn't exist, that they walk into combat and just stomp on everyone, much like Godzilla.
Okay. Mystic had a kind of unique way of fixing that. They had a pool of... It sucked, whatever.
It sucked.
They had a pool of... It didn't call it mana. What did
It
Mystic
was
call it?
psi points.
Psi points. You had a pool of psi points for non-concentration things, and then a pool of concentration things.
Wasn't it? No, you had your normal pool.
But in the concentration pool, you can concentrate on as many things as you can fit in that pool.
That's what it was.
Ugh.
Yeah. Which
And
like I thought that was half decent because it allowed you to have less, but you could still have more.
It's way too much. Like you're already giving so many options to choose from. Then you're giving so much. Then you're giving that certain person who chose so many options to figure out how many things are
Why do I like
concentrated
having
on,
options and then I suck at it?
Like
you can have whatever.
Like that gives Mystics breadth and depth because you have like a trillion options. So yeah, you can do one of those options each turn, but then you give yourself 1,000 buffs and you're crazy fucking strong despite only getting one of those options every turn.
Yeah.
And didn't they officially kill Mystic now with one of the recent? Good fucking.
Yes.
Well, I think
they did like psionics, but then they did like Psi Fighter and Psi other shit.
Yeah,
like
that kind of negated any fucking... Which, Mystic did not deserve to be a thing. It really didn't, but, I don't know.
I mean, just look at like,
Stop trying to talk while you're in the bathroom, dipshit. Just pee and fucking wait your turn.
In some form, it could definitely be allowed to exist. Just, like, I'm going to be 12 classes at once. No, that's no good.
Yeah, you would basically have to stick to a discipline and just fucking stay within that. Like, there was a whole, like, elemental or, like, avatar bullshit. Like, just stick to that. And
like, they're fucking disciplines. Just make that a subclass. And then, and then that,
you shouldn't be
there
allowed
you go.
to dip into whatever,
I think
Wholesome.
the classes with the most options as choices are Hunter, Ranger, and Monk, Way of the Four Elements, and they have nowhere near as many options as Mystic. Just choosing for like leveling up, like you can pick like Fire Whip or Water Whip or some shit like that, but nothing like so in depth as like I'm taking Fireball, but also I have resistance to fire, and as an action I can do make a fire or something. Like
also,
that.
I have combustion, Sparky Boom Man. I can just blow shit up from fucking 120 feet away.
Yeah, I think a lot of classes have. I think most classes have roughly the same order of magnitude level of options. But the question is, when do they have those options? So a lot of classes have those options at level up. A lot of classes have those options at a long rest. And a lot of classes have those options per fucking turn.
Yeah.
So, like wizards, they have 400 goddamn spells that they can pick from every time they level up. And then each long rest, they have to pick from their spell book and prep only the ones they want that day. And then on their turn, they have to pick which of their fucking spells they want to cast. Wizards
Yeah,
are
but
just
once you pick,
disgustingly complicated.
yeah, but once you pick your subclass, you don't pick features. You have your subclass, and
Right.
features are set.
But you pick 2 spells every single time you level up. So Paulson brings up, I once tried to make an item that could hold concentration on 1 extra spell for you.
You did that too.
I actually did exactly that in
Yep.
New Zerillian Sagas. It was like a band of marriage or some shit. It was some
Yeah.
it was a ring. I think you used it as a wedding band. You gave it to Thor.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
married
married
Thor,
Thor!
yeah.
Married Thor.
Fuck yeah! I
Um,
forgot about that.
And it was really funny because you were trying to decide whether you should give it to Thor as a wedding band or if you should give it to Praetus because he would be with you and didn't concentrate on spells usually.
Yeah.
But the main limitation of the ring was that you needed to be on the same plane of existence. And then you gave it to Thor and then immediately left the plane for the remainder of the campaign.
Fucking geniuses.
I wasn't.
But you didn't explain what the ring did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what it was every time you cast a spell that requires concentration, your partner would concentrate on it for you instead.
Yeah.
And then while they're concentrating,
Opening up a concentration
right, while they're
for you.
concentrating on a spell for you, you can cast another concentration spell and
Yeah.
concentrate on it yourself. And
I
it worked
always-
as
Wasn't
long
that
as
basically just always used on Hex?
it was bare.
It might have been.
I think it was almost always used for Hex because you
Hex
were
is
a warlock.
great. So it's like,
Um,
yo, hubby, like,
Yeah,
just
hold on.
concentrate on
Just
Hex.
hold on to my
You got
Hex
it.
for all of today,
Fucking
and then
got
I'll
it.
do the rest of the spells.
Be demon mad for me.
Right, but then like three sessions later, you left the plane. You went to the
Who
Feywild
did
for the
he
remainder of the
worship?
campaign. I don't know.
I don't remember.
His name was Thor, but he didn't worship Thor.
I always pictured him as the wildling guy from Game of Thrones. Tormund.
Even
Yeah.
though Tormund didn't exist when we played that campaign.
It did. He did. Game of Thrones was a thing.
Was it really?
Yeah, Game of Thrones has been around for like fucking 8 or 9 years now.
Jesus!
Yeah. I always pictured him as
Oh, shit,
Tormund.
yeah, it has.
Fuck Chris Hemsworth. He's ugly. Fucking
Fuck.
Tormund all the way.
There was a question. Oh, we were talking about mystics and how they didn't deserve to exist. Can we talk about psionic subclasses, the ones that just came out?
Oh yeah, go for
Can we
it.
talk about that? So, have you guys seen that?
Those are definitely Tyranny of Dragons.
Yeah, well, we're out of Tyranny of
We're
Dragons
just
content.
fucking talking at this point.
Yeah.
I'm out of questions. It's fine.
We didn't even get to the toilet yet.
Okay, fine. We'll get to the toilet. Alright,
I forgot
so...
about the toilet.
Alright, yeah, well, we didn't cover the speedrun, I guess. Alright, so the final chapter of Tyranny of Dragons, I just completely threw it out. I deleted the chapter and replaced it entirely.
Deleted it from your physical book.
Yep, deleted it from the book. You just tore the pages out, ate them, shit them out the next day, and then set the shit on fire.
That's how you delete things in real life.
Delete. So I replaced the entire final chapter with the war combat that we talked about earlier, and then after the war, it was a standard combat with against the ritual. But instead of, I literally don't even remember how the ritual is supposed to work in the book. But essentially, there were like these 5 crystals shooting beams at the portal in the middle. And each round, each beam contributed 2% to the portal. And then... what was it? And then every 20% towards the ritual, one of the heads of Tiamat would pop out in increasing order of power. So the first 20% was the white head, and then the green, then the black, then the blue, then the red. And then if it hit 100% at any point, fully powered Tiamat would be summoned.
Oh no.
And that'd be really bad.
Fucking
And
brooms of flying, though.
the what?
Fucking brooms of flying, though.
Brooms of flying were hilariously bullshit. Yeah, you guys had 2 of those fucking things.
They're uncommon.
Yeah. And then any round that ended, so at the end of every round, you would tick up the ritual 2% per beam, still uninterrupted. And then if at that time none of the beams were uninterrupted, it would actually lose 5%. So it was possible to get it back down to 0%, and then the ritual ends and it's fucked. It's over.
Too bad we didn't do that.
Too bad you didn't do that. So after 20 rounds of fighting, we were in kind of a stalemate, and we had to end the session. So between sessions, I was like, something interesting has to happen, because this has been going on for a really long time, and I don't know if it's going to end satisfyingly. Because I can't get close to the portals because there's fucking Tiamat heads coming out of it. And yeah, so after 20 fucking rounds, I had Zariel, the Archduchess of Avernus, show up. So that threw a wrench in some plans. And this was
According
prior...
to my notes, you did it at the end of that session, not between sessions.
Really?
Yeah, because I've got fucking...
I know, yeah, I know.
But then some Super Angel's like, hey, fucking let Tiamat out. Maybe you told us about that after the fact, after the session. It's like, by the way, I don't know. It was 5 years ago. Christ.
Yeah, that was a lot of years ago.
I'm old.
But yeah, so Zariel showed up, and essentially the way the portal worked was it was funneling souls. The crystals were funneling souls into the portal. And then every time someone died, including one of the Red Wizards, that just ticked 1% onto the portal. And then they killed Zariel.
Is Zariel immune to fire damage?
So real talk, this was prior to the release of Mordenkainen.
Yeah,
I killed her with a fireball.
So the in Mordenkainen and also in BGDIA, she is not immune to fire.
Interesting.
Zariel would want to help Tiamat because Zariel's tired of Tiamat being in Avernus. She fucking hates Tiamat being there. She wants her gone. She doesn't give a shit if she fucks up the Prime Material. All Zariel gives a fuck about...
She wants her out.
...is Tiamat leave my goddamn hell.
Yeah.
Really fucking short-sighted for the Archduchess of a fucking hell everything.
That's kind of Zariel, though, honestly.
How the hell did she get that far, then?
So the
How much can you say with 2 players here?
Yeah, so the 9 hells are kind of sort of not really a little bit related to the 7 hells of Dante mythos.
Duh.
Avernus is the level of pride and wrath. So Zariel is the most prideful, most wrathful creature in all of Avernus.
That's stupid.
Luke,
Okay.
You putting this away in the Mind Palace because I'm not gonna remember. Just absorb it, alright?
But yeah, so they killed Zariel, and her soul flew into the portal. And
Whoops. It supercharged it.
And that counted as like 300%, and it supercharged the portal to the point where instead of teleporting Tiamat to the Prime Material, it teleported Tiamat and the whole temple and everyone in it to an entire other multiverse. Which is my homebrew multiverse Zarlight.
Another multiverse, like just thinking of that.
Another multiverse, yes.
So fucking goofy.
If you guys vote for the homebrew
we'll get more
stuff,
into that.
we will definitely get into that. Ian has a really cool world that he built, and we, the aftermath of Tyranny of Dragons and an entire other campaign are in that world. So I think that'd be really cool to talk about. Not that I'm biased, but I did have his favorite character.
I feel like I just saw Mike talking, but I didn't hear Mike talking.
I did not say anything.
Okay.
You're saying things now.
I think my stream is like 20 seconds delayed. I keep
20
looking at my laptop screen, which has the stream up instead of the computer screen, which has like real time, like this is Zoom. So I'm seeing like you 20 seconds ago, but I'm hearing you now. So, yes, her soul literally broke a world spear and replicated a 12th level spell. There's only one 12th level spell. There's only one 12th level spell that has ever existed, and that's Karsus's Folly. Karsus's Avatar, whatever. So I think you meant to say 11th level spell.
And then, I just realized something. So after we did the Tyranny jump into the homebrew, we jumped back, spoilers, and we did New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Basically a speed run. We were high as fuck level and just decided, let's do it again.
The difference between the New Game Plus and the speed run was that you guys went into New Game Plus
knowing everything.
Knowing everything. Like, your characters knew all of the things that you had just done, and you were just, like, transported back in time.
I don't remember anything about New Game Plus. What does that tell you?
Because we did that theater of mine mostly.
Yeah, that was like a single session.
It was
Oh,
one
hey,
session. It was like 4 hours.
Let's run through the campaign again at level 17.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, fuck it.
Thus, the speedrun was born.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, fuckers, tell us what speedrun you want to see next, and tell us what you want to see next week.
I'm telling you, the next speedrun I run is Avernus, but I'm not doing it until we're in person.
Speedrun Tomb of Horrors.
Tomb of Horrors or
It was
Tomb of
in the first
Annihilation?
Horrors.
Horrors would be pretty quick.
Tomb of Annihilation.
Tomb of
was
Horrors
Yeah,
is
because we
being a
all died in the
speedrun.
first room.
Tomb of Horrors is only supposed to be like a 3-session thing anyway.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It'll be like 2 hours, right? Right, Lunaraya? 2 hours?
That's a big bet, buddy.
Alright, so it's Tomb of Horrors.
And also, like, there's so much shit that just kills you. Doesn't fucking care that you have 200 hit points. Like, you're just dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh god.
Like fucking Orb of Annihilation, the statue's mouth.
Speedruns honestly need to be run in person though.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to be fast, you need to not be fucking online. Combat's gonna be fucking 5 times as long, and just people talking over each other. It's just when quarantine ends, we'll do another speedrun.
You need to be able to glare at Luke and him know we're glaring at him.
Yeah. So on the one hand, I'm hoping that we finish Avernus before the quarantine ends, so we can just immediately jump into the Avernus speedrun. On the other hand, I'm really hoping quarantine ends soon enough that we can do the Avernus finale in person.
Yeah.
Fucking luck.
Yeah. I'm expecting end of
inject
May.
your Clorox.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking inject that shit into your veins or whatever.
At what point do
president
his insane ramblings turn into manslaughter?
We probably shouldn't get into politics here. We probably should
always get into politics.
All I will say is don't turn to the White House for medical advice. Turn
unless
to
you're looking
medical professionals.
Unless you're asking Dr. Fauci, he knows.
No, politics is great because U.S. fucked. That's politics in a nutshell.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on.
Yeah, the United States is now a third world country.
Alright, relax. Relax, everybody relax. Alright, so Ian's gonna make a poll about what you guys want to see next week. So options are homebrew.
Hold up, give me a second, okay. Homebrew. Okay.
Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Dragon Heist. What else is there?
Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Storm King's
I
Thunder.
just watched that episode. I'm watching all of Rick and Morty in anticipation for Sunday. Join us Sunday.
Why is it only allowing me to add 2? What the
Ian's
fuck?
gonna get super fucking drunk even though we don't have gin and burp every 3 words to get us through this. If you want to send us gin...
Don't.
Bits for gin?
Please don't.
Bits for gin. What else are options? Descent to Avernus so far. I think we have
it's only allowing me to add 2 fucking options.
Fuck? I mean, clearly you did that before, so I don't believe it.
Okay, I think the site's broken. Because, like, I added a title and then submitted it, and it was like, a title's required.
What's that programming thing where it's like problem exists between chair and
keyboard?
Pepcac. Yeah. I think it's that. It's so funny.
Thing that I don't know what it is.
I literally told her about that like 2 days ago.
I feel like that's like white bitch sentences just all the way around. What's that thing that I can't remember? Do you remember for me? It's so funny working with him from home because since I started working from home, he works down here in the living room with me, and we both like sit at the fucking D&D table and work, and I hear him talk about. Thank God he's not a let's circle back guy, but
yeah,
meetings are tough. Listening to meetings are tough.
Alright, straw poll's broken, so I'm using easy polls.
The fuck is that?
I don't know. I just googled thing.
Is that you on Discord?
No, I haven't. I'm just still making the polls. So we got Dungeons of the Mad-Mage, News of Alien Sagas, Storm King's Thunder. What else?
Oh, I forgot about Storm King's Thunder.
Storm the King's Thunder.
Did you put Descent?
No.
I think we had on the poll last week, Descent into Avernus so far.
Alright. Thus far.
Yeah.
Alright.
A weird one to do, but okay.
That is a weird one.
Yeah, I
What
don't
else?
know if that we should really do that.
I don't think we should do Descent.
Okay, that's fine.
What else?
No.
What else we got?
How many options do you have?
Oh, we didn't do 2 Annihilation.
We did last week.
We did it, yeah. No, that
We did
wasn't.
TOA?
That, was,
Oh,
That
jeez,
was
we did
bad.
that 2 weeks ago.
that wasn't last week, yeah.
Yeah, last week was Curse of Strahd. We did TOA.
Bits go toward Ian's recovery. Can't think of anything.
Other options,
Oh.
chat. Put them in Discord.
Ideas that I had are build a well-known character, like build a movie or comic book or like some other famous sort of character as a
Oh,
D&D character, even though that's a thing that already exists and we will credit it appropriately.
No, we won't. So here's the thing. I want to get through all the campaigns before we do like other stuff.
If people want to see
And the other
shit,
stuff we could do as we're talking about something. That stuff doesn't have to be like,
Yeah.
'cause, like there's not there's
Like,
only
there's
so
a,
much
you,
you can
there's
say.
a
about
YouTube
that.
channel that like builds a character.
and he's
and
just
it's
not
like
right at it.
It's like a 15-minute video though. It's not an hour podcast kind of topic.
No, but we could go through a few. Like it could just be something different we do.
Yeah. So I got
I had
Dungeon I
another
Managed, New
idea.
Cerulean Saga, Storm King's Thunder.
We'll
That's
think on
fine.
more.
That's good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, we'll do that for now.
Okay, so
If you guys
join
have any
us-
questions and
Yeah.
don't mind waiting until next week or want to see it discussed by all of us in more of a live fashion, maybe you can just send those over into the Discord and we can start accumulating some questions if you guys want to do it that way as well.
There's a Discord channel. Link is down below. We have a specific channel for suggestions you want to see on Last Call. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below on the video and we'll definitely consider it. Join us Wednesdays for Descent to Avernus. Join us this Sunday for Rick and Morty. Join our Discord to know the exact details. What time are we starting on Sunday, do you know?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. for
EST.
Rick and Morty D&D.
EDT.
That's why I always just say ET, but everyone insists on. So straw poll's broken, and this other site that I found is fucking hot garbage. So we're just like putting it in Discord, and we're using reactions.
So join the Discord.
Join our fucking Discord and vote on what we should do next week. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
I'm seeing the reactions as fucking broken images,
They'll
so that's
load.
great.
Go load.
Okay.
That's good. I think that's all I have to say. We do this specific thing Last Call every Friday.
Oh yeah. Also on Mondays I do DM prep.
Oh, Mondays, DM prep with the DM.
Also, don't try and just kill us. Make interesting encounters.
Yeah.
Andy,
no-
which one's your birthday? Andy says that's my birthday after we refer to
really?
3 different days.
Wait, if next Last Call is your birthday, Andy, we want you on the
Yeah.
show. So we'll specifically like make it a topic that 2 DMs can talk about. How about that?
That'd be neat.
I think that's it though.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming.
for watching.
Stay safe. Don't get into politics. Just don't watch the news. Just use your fingers to watch the news. And
Yeah.
we have like 3 things going on right now, so that's really cool. We're trying to put out a lot of
3.5,
content.
4.
Yeah, we're trying to put out a lot of content to keep you guys entertained.
And keep us sane.
Yep.
Sunday is Andy's birthday.
Oh. What can we do with that? Anything?
I don't think so.
But we love Andy.
We do play online. We'll talk.
Think about it.
Alright.
We'll
Yeah.
talk. We'll think about it.
Alright.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.